What is the most overrated TV show? The Flash, Season 5 onwards. It's just the same shit, again and again. Barry thinks he's not fast enough to beat the bad guy. Then he gets fast enough to beat the bad guy. Something new please. Everyone angrily typing out the reply to whoever said your favorite show is overrated. Just remember that overrated does not mean it is bad. These are two separate concepts. 13 Reasons Why, a horrible show with horrible messages. Also, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that there was a spike in suicide shortly after it aired because of how the show glorified it. Riverdale, for F's sake, can that show ace up? I grew up reading Archie comics and the show never gave justice to the story. It's just a bunch of beautiful lads and girls macking out each other and that's it. Big Bang Theory, obvious joke setup, joke predicated on pop culture fiction or scientific principles the writer doesn't understand. 5 seconds of canned laughter while the characters stare at each other. So, I love The Office, but in real life, for every one person I find who likes it, I find 3 more who are trying way too hard to like it because it's so popular or a friend is watching it. The writing is intelligent in an ironic sense and the characters you want to follow, but it has the supernatural effect, where the fanbase hypes it up so hard that people who wouldn't appreciate The Office watch it anyway. That's why it's overrated. I know it is over, but The Big Bang Theory jumped the shark around season 3 or 4 and they kept that crap up for 8 more seasons? ? Of the current shows on the air, there is no reason for The Masked Singer to exist. Supernatural, I liked the first few seasons. I loved the whole Monster of the Week episodes. Then it seemed like everything became angel, demon, king of hell, angel, demon, Mark of Cain, repeat with an occasional Monster of the Week tossed in. It is an alright show but the fucking fanbase is just, damn, they are cringy as fuck and go way overboard on their obsession of the Winchester boys and cast actors. That fanbase is scary as fuck and though I like the show I will never admit to anyone I actually know that I like the show because I do not want to be lumped in with that rabid pack of no, those people terrify me. Pawn Stars, it's literally boomer nostalgia, and it's all fake too, not to mention its whole business model is based on preying upon those who are unfortunate. Chumlee, Rick, his son and old man are all just loan sharks. Any reality TV show, especially Kardashians, Big Brother, Bachelor, etc. Edit for clarification, I know reality TV isn't meant to be highly rated but the fact that they remain some of the most frequently watched programming is where I'm basing the fact that it's overrated. 2.5 Men, the whole thing is not funny at all and when people quote it I have always the feeling it's a social proof thing because it is well known as funny so they are sure they will be not wrong. Not with me my dear friends, there is nothing impressive about this shitty show. Supernatural, it's a good show and had some good seasons, but it can really drag on at times with how repetitive some of the episodes can get with Sam and Dean. From the new ones definitely Bridgerton, I don't understand what the hype is about, there is not one likable person on the show, and the storylines are not that interesting. I made it to the last episode and couldn't finish it. Is it maybe great for mindless viewing? Could be, but being the most viewed show ever on Netflix and people dying over season 2 is just something I don't get. Westworld, I watched the first season and it was pretty good, but it had some serious flaws in terms of theme, and it seems to have gotten a bit lost after that. The Masked Singer, I just don't understand it, watching someone sing behind a mask and trying to guess who it is. It's gimmicky, tasteless, and over the top awful. It's an awful show and needs to be cancelled. Dang, that's a tough one. I'd have to go with Family Guy. The blood, That weird episode where the dog gets to be pregnant. That one suicide joke. God, that suicide joke. It might just be me, but I just can't find the appeal to a show like this. The characters aren't likable in the slightest. Peter's a jerk. Lois is supportive of Peter. Meg is constantly bullied by her family. Stewie's older brother is ... much about him I don't watch the show. Stewie's the only character I can even consider liking, but even then he's horrible. Brian's alright, but still gets involved with a lot of gore. Quagmire's a total creep, and some of the jokes in it are just uncomfortable. Even the Simpsons crossover cut out so much of the Simpsons charm. I just can't really respect it. If you like it, that's great. I'm glad you see the good in a show I can't bear to watch, but I just can't watch even one episode without getting uncomfortable. Big Bang Theory, the most stereotypical sitcom with predictable lines, token hot chick, awful laugh track, and most of the fans regurgitate lines to sound smart. Edit, maybe that last part is just my cousin and his friends. But please make it stop. So the top comments are saying, The Walking Dead, not overrated since most agree it went downhill. Every CW show, again, not overrated since once the original storyline is done, every show becomes a generic CW soap opera. 13 Reasons Why, again, not overrated since it was pretty controversial, and again, everyone knows it should have ended after season 1. Every CBS sitcom, an easy target everyone likes shitting on, so how are they overrated? You all need to figure out what overrated means. To me, an actual answer would be Rick and Morty. As an actual R&M fan, it's not as great as everyone makes it out to be. Rick and Morty, many people told me that I love it, but the humor seems to me too ... linear and coarse. I still prefer Simpsons. BBC Sherlock, completely misunderstood Sherlock's entire character and had terrible plots, simply because the showrunner tried to make a character that's smarter than he actually is. Friends by far, somebody in the comments defended the show saying it's similar to comfort food. Well, that's what it is precisely. Definitely not the masterpiece cooked by a talented chef, but some kind of half-heated industrial frozen pizza. Mad Men is fine, but it's perfectly tailored to be adored by critics rather than the general public, and it's overrated by professional critics as a result, although, to be fair to it, it's much better than the shows at the top of this thread. It just doesn't deserve the kind of all-time great praise it frequently got. Firefly, not a bad show, but it doesn't deserve to be lauded this much 20 years later. Also, the movie was a satisfying ending, so people should just let it go. I'm hoping that all the current controversy with Joss Whedon will finally put an end to this meme. Ozark. It's like watching a Breaking Bad without any of the high stakes or likable leads. As a matter of fact, I can give two shits what happens to that entire family. Yet if Walt Jr. even ever so much as scrapped his knee, I'd probably lose it. For me, it might be Avatar, The Last Airbender. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic for the most part, but people act like it's the second coming of television, I think to an unwarranted degree. It wasn't perfect and there were times it dropped the ball. Like I think with Aang in the finale, where he didn't actually have to face his biggest issue, and Sokka/Toph/Suki actually just saved him a little cleanup with the airships. Not to mention Locke is more enjoyable. Friends, who the hell are these people that watched Friends, or are watching reruns? Not sure I've ever met someone in my entire life that watches Friends. Timon, it's awful Reddit humor, which is to say not funny. Scrubs isn't as bad, but basically the same thing. Scrubs at least has some good writing and music, but the actors annoy me. Timon is just crap all around, and the same people who love it will trash BB like they're in different leagues. Lol. Keep telling yourself that. Big Bang Theory, just awful. There aren't jokes. The characters just say something nerdy and set off the laugh track. Everyone in the show is an awful stereotype of a nerd, and although I'm sure some would argue the characters end up with some depth, they'd have to after being around for so long. Sheldon's TV autism is played for cute laughs. Raj and Howard are cheap ethnic stereotypes, and Leonard the straight man is just plain boring, and Penny, the cliché hat girl next door who becomes friends with the nerds. Come on, I have no idea why this show was popular for so long and has a spin-off playing even more on the cute TV autism. Probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. Breaking Bad, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but I think it was overrated. There were way too many boring, slow parts in between the interesting parts for me. The Office, US, I haven't seen the UK one so can't give an opinion. Parks and Rec, if I watch small clips of them on YouTube they're funny, but when I try and watch an actual episode they're shit. The Walking Dead is absolutely shit. If you watch it and don't understand that the characters make the worst decisions they could, then you are an idiot. If I go that way there's no danger and I can save everyone, but I'll go through a zombie horde instead. Great first season though. The Terror Season 2. What did I just witness? Went from amazing storyline and ambience in Season 1 to a seemingly rushed version of The Grudge in a Japanese intermittent comp, and I'm extremely biased towards Asian horror. I could not get into it. How I Met Your Mother. I started watching repeats when I got home from work. Just something random playing in the background while unwinding, plus I'd heard what a great show it was. I got kinda hooked. But after a couple weeks I began to notice how irritating it was. So much dialogue. I got distracted by how much yakking there was. It was nearly constant, and grating, and forced. Jesus. There were no nuances or subtleties. It's just a stupid sitcom. I get that, but so fucking overrated. Fargo. Season 1 was pretty solid, but Season 2 was all over the place, and Season 3 didn't really have a satisfying conclusion. Or maybe it did. I don't remember how it ended, which is what makes me think it wasn't good, as I only watched it like 2 months ago. Ozarks. I couldn't make it to the end of the series. All the events were totally unbelievable and almost every character was highly unlikable for me. I did like Ruth, and then they kept shitting on her until she started turning into a post like the rest of them. I stopped watching at this point. It's my boyfriend's favorite show and I gave it my best go, but I just did not like it. Game of Thrones. I just don't like it. But many people act like that's impossible, or I'm a psychopath for not liking it. I find there's too much rape and killing for next to no reason, and too strange and chaotic families and relationships. Each episode I saw was just different people fucking, raping and killing each other. Good for people who like it. I won't tell anybody they can't just because I don't, but I don't have to like it either. Hot take: but The U.S. Office, The Walking Dead, South Park, Sopranos, How I Met Your Mother, Misfits, Skins UK, people go on and on about these. I didn't like them at all and gave a fair shake. Comedy is unfunny and the drama is not interesting. Gonna go with what will almost certainly be controversial and say Firefly. I do think it's a good show, but people frequently talk about it like it's the greatest show ever made. My main complaints are twofold. First, it's not that amazing. It's a decent action drama set in a somewhat interesting universe. It's what I would call good all round, but not spectacular in any way. Fans often like to point how great it could have been had it not been cancelled. Which brings me to my second point. Just because something could have been great doesn't mean it is great. The loose ends that never get wrapped up, 2x2, hands blue, ? Are to me a negative for the show, even if it's only because it was cancelled. Reality is there's only one season and it leaves you with more questions than answers. As a result, The show isn't as good, it's not its fault, but it's still reality. Bachelor, I sure as hell don't want to see some stupid, scripted, cheesy show about fake love. I saw a YouTube ad about how to turn on girls instantly with this one trick, and it cited Bachelor, which made me laugh out loud. Walking Dead, once they got to Terminus I gave up. It beats you over the head with darkness and 5-minute brooding monologues that are only written to fill 47 minutes of show. I understand that the world they exist in is awful, but it starts to feel redundant with each episode. Mere words cannot express how much I hate Big Bang Theory and the people who have recommended that I watch it because I will identify with one of the characters, which I take to be a horrific insult. SNL, I get that some of the greatest comedians of all time came out of that show, but seriously, there's maybe a handful of good skits and everything else is absolute shit. Friends, maybe I'm just too young, but the humor is very boomerish. Rick and Morty, so fucking stupid and hard to watch. Doctor Who, Burn Notice, and X-Files, all three shows excellent from the get-go, but falter as they drag out the series. If you have a specific, well-formulated plot, then that should be static. It'll be over in a finite amount of time and episodes, but if people want more, too often they keep going and convoluting that plot until it's an unrecognizable mess. Census is guilty of this too, but their short and sweet mini-plots keep retention up. TLDR, don't drag out episodic series indefinitely. The Walking Dead is horrific and I am obsessed with the zombie genre. The gig was so bad I couldn't get into any episode. The characters couldn't act and none of the shit made any sense. Also, if you lean on product placement you can go fuck yourself. Firefly, don't get me wrong, it was good, but people act like it was absolutely amazing. It was good and had a lot of promise, but the fact that it was cancelled so early allows people to assume the best case scenario for how the show would have actually turned out. The Simpsons, I get it, it's a great, solid and really funny show, but I don't think it's that fucking good. At least in my country, it has this legendary status and a lot of my friends know a shit ton of quotes and remember most of the episodes. Community, I can't figure out why people like it and I've given it a chance a lot of times, even making it entirely through the first season hoping it would get better. The main character is really unlikable, and no one acts the way a human would actually act in the situations they are in. Firefly, it wasn't going to get better with time. Joss Whedon intended to have an Arrow gang raped by the Reavers who would die because she injects herself with some toxin that basically weaponizes her vagina. Getting cancelled allowed the show to be mythologized as one of the best shows to ever get the axe. How I Met Your Mother, Barney character is too over the top, tried too hard to be cool, and that bro code shit. Ted is just a desperate dude. Ending makes the entire series sucks balls. Should rename it to How I Want to Bang Robin All Along. Glad I only watched bits and pieces of it. Big Bang Theory is such a stupid show in my opinion, but every room I've been in always has such loyal viewers. Half of the jokes are just Sheldon not understanding how to explain mundane things mundanely and the other half is somebody doing something stupid. What's even worse is that the response is always "you're just not smart enough to get it." I'm smart enough to get how stupid it is. Real Housewives of Whoever the Fuck Cares, a program dedicated to massaging the egos of overgrown Barbie dolls. The whole show is one long advert filled with product placement, a cash grab that has grown and grown, manipulating women with glamorous lifestyles. They often attach themselves to charitable organizations for maximum exposure, pulling at the heartstrings. These women are scum. The false ideals perpetuated by the programs needs to stop. Firefly, the acting is pretty good and it has some neat concepts, but I mostly felt bored watching it. It seems like a lot of the hype for the show comes from it being cancelled so soon into its run and not if the show was actually any good. Like, if you want bounty hunters in space with the kind of Western vibe, just watch Cowboy Bebop, my guy.